Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your college football top 25 video for this Saturday, September the 17th, week 3 college football. I'm going to give you a preview of the biggest head-to-head top 25 matchups in college football for this Saturday, along with my personal proprietary power rating, so you'll know where the line value is, and also my matchup analysis. I'm also going to let you know which way I lean in these games as well, so you can find some advantages when you make your plays this Saturday. All that's coming up for free right here in just a moment. A quick reminder, my NFL Fade the Public video will be up on Saturday evening as well. If you want an instant alert the minute my NFL Fade the Public video for week 2 goes live, hit the bell. Make sure you hit subscribe. We are 101,000 subscribers here on Wager Talk TV, but hit that bell for additional instant alerts the minute these videos go live on Friday and Saturday each week for college and pro football. Also, give the video a thumbs up and leave me some comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the big college football games. Give me your picks, your top best bets for this week as well. Hey, speaking of best bets, we crushed them last week in the NFL. You know, first Saturday in college football, a 3-0 sweep for week 1. We did the same with the NFL on Sunday and Monday for week 1 last weekend, going a perfect 5-0 to start the NFL weekend. In fact, we went with 3 straight baseball winners after that and heading into Friday now on an 8-1, 89% all sports run, football and baseball over this past week. So it's a great time to get on board at WagerTalk.com. And I've got a very special offer for college and pro football. If you missed that 3-0 sweep in college football in week 1 Saturday, if you missed the 5-0 NFL sweep in week 1 on Sunday and Monday, don't wait any longer. We still have a lot of football to go, a huge card this Saturday and Sunday, and you can get it right now for a very special price. How about getting college and pro each for less than $100 a month? With a combo right now, $199 gets you both college and pro for 30 days. College and pro football, full 30 days for just $199. No promo code needed. On my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. All right, here's what we're going to do. Each week, I look at all the top 25 matchups where we have head-to-head matchups. We've had 3 in week 1, 3 in week 2. This is the quietest week, and it's not a coincidence because conference play starts in the next week or two for all schools. And a lot of the big power programs play a big game in week 1 or even week 2. But week 3, and maybe even next week in week 4, we're going to probably have less head-to-head top 25 matchups than normal. And this week, that is the case. We have just 2 true head-to-head top 25 matchups, and that's Oregon and BYU, Miami of Florida, Texas A&M. But I'm going to give you 2 bonus games that were just a bit outside for making the cut, in which we have a top 25 team against a team that's kind of in the top 30. And that's going to be 2 additional bonus games I'll touch on at the end of the video. Texas Tech, NC State, and also Penn State, Auburn. Some big matchups there as well that technically aren't top 25 head-to-heads, but are pretty darn close. All right, let's look at the first premier game, the first true top 25 matchup, and that's number 12 BYU at number 25 Oregon at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. That's on Fox National TV. And let's start off with my power ratings. My power ratings favor BYU on the road by half a point. So pretty much a pick 'em. We'll say BYU by half a point, but obviously that's a pick 'em in the betting line. And this should be a competitive game. I think it's a really good matchup. The first thing that concerns you, of course, about BYU, actually, there's 2 things that concern you about BYU, and that, of course, is that they're coming off a double overtime win against Baylor. That was a big win for them last week. We actually had that video here on the top 25 preview, and I mentioned that my power ratings greatly favored BYU by almost a touchdown in that game. I think it was 8.5. The true line was only 2.5. But my concern is that their top 2 starting receivers were both out with injury and were not expected to play, and they did not play, of course. Yet, with that said, BYU still sneaked out the double overtime win by 6 points. So let's look at the injury report this week. As of Friday afternoon, both are questionable. It looks like one of them will return. I would say most likely we can count on one of the receivers being back. Oregon is currently a 3.5-point favorite. It's held steady all week. The line has not moved much. Total is around 58. So the line value is with BYU once again this week. Just like last week, my power ratings gave them almost a touchdown of value. Now they're getting about a field goal of value, actually 4 points to be exact, as I favor them by a half, yet they're a 3.5-point dog. But once again, not a good scheduling spot for BYU, coming off a big double overtime top 25 win, now having to travel, and also a little shorthanded at receiver still. So even though I think the value favors BYU, to make a case the matchup is questionable, and the receivers are going to be key because Oregon's pass defense has been really bad so far in their first 2 games this season. Of course, Eastern Washington win last week as a 4-touchdown favorite. Can't read too much into that, but they got blown out in week 1 against Georgia when they gave up 439 passing yards. And all the season, they're still giving up almost 9 yards per pass, even after playing a weak Eastern Washington team and holding them to just 87 passing yards last week. So Oregon in their one game against a good opponent in Georgia did not look good defensively against the pass. So with BYU maybe getting one of those star receivers back this week, it does look like the line value favors BYU. Just a little concerned, though, about the double overtime win. All right, the other true top 25 matchup goes late on Saturday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Number 13, Miami of Florida at number 24, Texas A&M. Once again, that's on ESPN at 9 o'clock Eastern. And as far as the power ratings go in this game, no line value. And I make the line 6, and that's currently what Texas A&M is favored by, is 6 to 6.5. In fact, talked about this game on Thursday on the college football show, and I'm going to bring it up here. I gave it out as an advanced free play when the line was 6. Now it's 6.5. And even though there's not a lot of line value with Miami of Florida, I think the situation definitely favors the Hurricanes here. So this is a situation where the line might be pretty accurate, but I like the spot for Miami for a couple reasons. First of all, definitely don't mind playing against Texas A&M. A really bad loss for the Aggies last week against Appalachian State. 18.5-point favorite, so obviously that's a bad loss to start with. But the real red flag for me is the fact they did not even score the point spread. 18-point favorite, they only put up 14 points total. And keep in mind, one of those was a non-offensive return touchdown. So they only had 7 points offensively last week at home as an 18.5-point favorite. Now, Appalachian State is a good mid-major program, but it's still not a Power 5 conference. And that's a bad loss for Texas A&M because they did have some aspirations of sneaking into that 14 playoff this year. They were hoping to be that spoiler, that outside team that could sneak in. Everybody kind of knew at some point, but that was going to come in the tough SEC conference, not in week 2 against Appalachian State. So A&M pretty much has to run the table now, and I'm not even sure they get by Miami this week. This is a dangerous Hurricane squad that's put up 100 points in their first 2 games. Now, granted, in Southern Miss, not exactly a barn beater, so this is a huge step up in class for Miami. That is a little bit of a concern, but once I think the situation here, I think it's a flat spot for A&M. I don't think they necessarily bounce back off that devastating loss last week. And also the fact that their offense really struggled. I'm not sure they can just flip a switch and fix things. In fact, on the season, they're averaging 6.5 yards per play against teams that allow 7.2. Miami's defenses look pretty strong so far, especially the run defense. They're getting up just 58 rushing yards per game on just 2 yards per carry. And they have run the ball well this year. They've averaged almost 500 yards combined in the first 2 games. So I think they have the line of scrimmage edge, the rushing edge, the better offense, getting nearly a full touchdown. Miami of Florida is worth a look at plus 6.5 on Saturday night. All right, those are the first 2. Those are the only 2 true top 25 versus top 25 matchups. 2 games that just missed the cut, just a bit outside. I'm going to get to those in a moment for you. Bonus coverage here. Quick reminder, if you missed the 3-0 sweep on week 1 in Saturday college football, if you missed the 5-0 sweep last week in week 1 on Sunday and Monday in the NFL, don't wait any longer. Get a combo pack right now. College and pro football. Get them both each for less than $100 per month. That's because $199 gets you both college and pro combined. 30 days NFL and college for just $199. No promo code needed. It's on my page right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. I've got a huge card for both Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in both college and pro football. Get it all right now, the next 30 days for a very special price. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. All right, let's look at 2 bonus games in which we have teams that are just a bit outside from making the cut. Let's first go with 3:30 Eastern on CBS Saturday. Number 22, Penn State against Auburn. It's theoretically not top 25, but they are getting some votes. There's always the additional votes, top 30, top 35, you could say. Auburn, with a win this week, by the way, will be top 25. Penn State, though, of course, will probably fall out. So this is a battle of which team wants to be in the top 25 next week. And once again, Penn State currently number 22 in the AP poll at unranked Auburn, who is receiving votes. And this will be a good matchup here. I like this Penn State squad. I think they're going to be a difficult team to fade this year. However, this is a tough spot for them right now. This is a situation in which the line value is pretty much spot on based on my power ratings. However, it's really hard to go against an SEC home underdog in a non-conference game. Because keep in mind, this is a situation we saw in week 1. I talked about the game right here in this video when Utah and Florida met. Florida was a 2.5 to 3-point home dog. They won that game outright against a Utah team that was looking at possibly making the playoffs this year. Very similar situation here with a non-conference SEC home dog against still a Power 5 team. But whenever we get the SEC as a home dog, it gets me leaning that way. Line currently around 2.5, 3. My power ratings make Penn State a 3-point favorite. So there's no line value once again. I think the line is pretty much where it should be. But an undefeated home SEC dog is always worth a look. And my concern with Auburn, though, would be the offense. Only 24 points last week against San Jose State as a 24-point favorite. I mentioned this earlier with the A&M game. Another SEC team at home that did not look good offensively last week. Auburn only scored the point spread. That's always a concern. But I think you can make a case they were probably looking ahead a little bit to this big Penn State game. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass for that mediocre offensive performance last week. I think they kind of went vanilla. I think they'll have some tricks up their sleeve. And if that's the case, even though this line is spot on 3, which is my power ratings, I'd probably lean towards Auburn if the line is +3 or more. Once again, 2.5s out there as we headed into Thursday. Now Friday, we do see mostly 3s. At 3 or more, I would lean Auburn, even though that's pretty much where my power ratings are. All right, there's one other game that just missed the cut from being a true top 25 head-to-head matchup. Number 16, NC State hosts Texas Tech at 7 p.m. Eastern Saturday night on ESPN2. NC State ranks 16th in the AP poll. Texas Tech is unranked, but once again, like Auburn, they are receiving some votes. So I think they will crack the top 25 if they can pull the upset in this game on Saturday night at NC State. However, I do not think they pull the upset. I think, in fact, NC State will move even higher in the rankings. And my power ratings favor them by 14 points in this game. As of Friday afternoon, the current line is only 10.5. I do see an 11 out there now. So it does look like this line is starting to rise higher. It opened as low as 9.5. Obviously, I made the line 14, so I thought that opener of 9.5 was cheap. I was not surprised to see it go up to 10.5. I now see some 11s out there. So once again, it does not look like you're going to get -10 or less with NC State. If you like Texas Tech, you might want to wait. This line looks like it's rising higher, but I do not like Texas Tech. I like NC State in this game. I make them a 14-point favorite, and I think they will roll in this one. NC State, I think, is a very underrated team this season. First 2 games against pretty weak opponents, obviously. Charleston Southern last week, can't read anything to that. Mediocre win, actually a lackluster win against East Carolina in week 1. They were a 12-point road favorite in that game, only won 21-20. So they haven't looked great yet, and I think that's one of the reasons this line is a little bit shorter. However, this is a tough spot for Texas Tech. Back-to-back wins to start the season at home, first true road game. And keep in mind that win against rival Houston, in-state rival Houston last week, went to overtime. They won the game by 3. Kind of fortunate to get out with a win in that game. And I think that could leave them a little bit flat. So we get line value, and we also get a good situational setup fading Texas Tech off that tough rival overtime win against Houston. So I like NC State here, minus the 10.5. That once again goes 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. All right, that's 4 top 25 matchups, 2 head-to-heads, and then a couple games that just missed the cut as far as being true top 25s. We gave you 4 games there. Hope you find that information useful. Once again, if you did, give it a thumbs up. Always appreciate the support here on the videos. Help keep this content free by subscribing to WagerTalk TV. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell if you want instant alerts, including when my NFL Fade the Public video is posted this Saturday. And most importantly, leave me some comments below. I read every single comment. I reply back as well. I want to know your thoughts on the big Saturday Week 3 college football card. Where are your best bets? Which games do you agree or disagree in this top 25 video? And let me know your thoughts and where we can all cash together this Saturday in college football. Don't forget, if you want a full month for just $1.99, no promo code needed, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And I'll be back on Saturday with NFL Fade the Public right here on WagerTalk TV. Good luck.